And now it's time for another Board Game Brawl unboxing with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey peeps, it is time for yet another unboxing. They seem to come in clusters, and there's actually going to be one more really cool one tomorrow, or tomorrow as of the time that I'm recording this, so hopefully you will at least tune in for that if you don't have unboxing fatigue. But this one was one I wasn't necessarily planning on doing. It just sort of came to me that I would do it. And this is the Horus Heresy Betrayal at Calth board game from the infamous Games Workshop. I'm actually very late to the party on this one. This has been out for 2 or 3 months, something like that. I don't know. I was mildly interested in it when it first came out, and I decided to pass on it. And then I'm like, I'm more interested in it now, especially when I saw Death Watch Overkill, which I did an unboxing for already, and hopefully we'll be doing a review for sometime soon. And so I decided, all right, I'll splurge and try out this one too, because I'd heard some good things about it. And basically, this is not to be confused with the Horus Heresy board game from Fantasy Flight Games. Games Workshop subbed it out, as they do, to Fantasy Flight quite a number of years ago, and it didn't do all that well. It's kind of out of print. Well, it's very out of print now, and you can still find copies of it because it didn't sell particularly well. It was on sale for a long time on Fantasy Flight's website. But I have heard good things about that one too. It just didn't quite take off. But that was similar to this one in the sense that it was a 2-player game. But I think that the original Horus Heresy board game was on a grander, more epic scale as far as what you were doing. And because it was a Fantasy Flight subcontracting job, they couldn't use the official miniatures from Games Workshop, and you were just moving like different units around, or representing larger units. This one is, again, a 2-player game, but using actual Games Workshop miniatures, which you can use in the Warhammer 40k miniatures war game, which a lot of people buy this game for that reason, as like a good starter set for that game. Same thing for Death Watch Overkill and Assassinorum Execution Force, although that one had very specialized assassin miniatures. But that's pretty much what I know about the Horus Heresy Betrayal at Calth. I mean, if you don't know what the Horus Heresy is, it was this big epic event in the Warhammer 40k universe where a certain contingent of the Imperium Guard, or whatever it is, I'm going to get all these terms wrong, I know, people are going to yell at me, rebelled against the Emperor and tried to kill him, Horus, whatever his name is, and that was like this big thing many, many years before the current Warhammer 40k time frame. So this takes a more intimate look at that. So very, very interesting. I'm very interested in it. Based on the comments of the video for Death Watch Overkill, many of you are probably not, and I totally understand that. I commented in the last video about the antipathy that a lot of people have for Games Workshop, and how I understand it, but I don't necessarily feel it, just because I didn't live through really negative things happening to me and my fandom based on the actions of Games Workshop, because I was never in the Games Workshop to begin with, and only care about them as far as their board games that go, and I was never around for the whole thing with Space Hulk. So I do want to say, I hope I'm not coming off as like some sort of shill for Games Workshop just because I'm unboxing their games and reviewing them. I just find them very interesting. I totally understand why people would be pissed off at them. I would also say, though, a couple of people pointed out, oh, these games are so expensive. That's why, another reason Games Workshop hates people and why people hate Games Workshop. I will agree that they're expensive. You could definitely make an argument that these games, like Assassinorum, like Space Hulk, 4th edition, the last one, like this game, are too expensive for what you get. That's entirely subjective because they're Games Workshop quality miniatures. Whether that appeals to you or not, I don't know. But I would say now, if you compare these games to the games of Cool Mini or Not, or a lot of other games with miniatures that are on Kickstarter, it seems like the base buy-in price for most of these games is $100. And that's on Kickstarter, not even the retail edition. When Kickstarter, you usually get a little bit of a discount. It doesn't count shipping either. And, for Cool Mini or Not games, who usually gets just the base game? So my point in saying that is that I think that there's a lot of inflation of board game prices going on, especially when miniatures are involved. I don't know if it's necessarily right to come down too hard on Games Workshop for that, but that certainly doesn't absolve them from any number of other sins you want to come up with. I think it's an interesting discussion nevertheless. But I'm boring you, I'm sure, or boring a certain amount of you. Let's go ahead and get to the unboxing of Horus Heresy, The Betrayal at Calth from Games Workshop. Okay, folks, we are going to get to my latest unboxing. This is the Horus Heresy Betrayal at Calth board game for games from Games Workshop and with the Warhammer 40k universe, blah, 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 blah. Now, once again, this comes in the not children's products box, which I still love, and also, once again, the store that I picked it up from took the pleasure of opening it, so you're really losing like the worst, most valuable piece of the unboxing, but that's okay. So let's get this out of here. Okay. Alright, so we have the Horus Heresy. This one, compare this to the artwork for Deathwatch Overkill, the last unboxing I did, and this artwork looks more old school to me. I mean, it's still very high quality. I like it. I'm not bashing it, but it looks like got like a much more old school feel to it, which I guess makes sense based on the subject matter and such. But let's get this out of here to reduce that glare a bit. Barely. So there it is. Really awesome looking miniatures games of desperate battle in the 31st millennium. Although that is not as great a line as Suffer Not the Alien to Live. If I must compare this to the previous one. Let's take a look at the back before I open up anything else here. This is what the game should look like in the hands of someone much more competent than me. I am just going to just barely be able to put them together, and then they will sit unpainted forever, just like my Space Hulk set. Look at that thing. Oh, I can't wait. I should mention, too, that like picking this up from my local and only Games Workshop store, like the only one in probably like the state, maybe not the state, there's probably one up in Orlando, but it was really cool. I'm never going to get into the official Warhammer 40k game or Warhammer Fantasy, but looking around at the miniatures was amazing. Oh my god, they're so cool. I really do want to play as the Tau. But anyways, I digress. The Tau look like old school Battletech. Okay, so let's go back into this. By the way, I never played well, whatever. I'll probably talk about that in my intro. I'm filming this before the intro. Okay, so here's sprue after sprue after sprue. So many. Let's see, this will probably help you see it a little bit clearer. Typical, incredible detail from Games Workshop. No surprises there. I feel like a lot of these are going to look somewhat similar, so... Excuse me. Just threw up all over myself. Okay. Nice. Whoa! I've got a case of the Tyrannid hiccups. Alright, so here's some more that are connected. I'll probably just cut those apart to make it fit in the box better. All very similar. Nothing really drastic. We're going to get to the really cool giant robot suit in a second. There's guns and stuff. Cool swords. So much. Oh god. I'm getting a headache already. I'm thinking about putting this all together. But I will do it. Okay. Shoulder pads. We're working our way up to the really cool one. Don't worry. There's a bunch of cool gauntlets. Space Marines, not great at giving hugs. That's what I'm learning from this. Alrighty. Here's the giant robot. So cool. Can't wait. That one's going to be fun to put together. I like putting together the big, epic models. And here is probably one of the leaders of the two groups. Nice. Okay, cool. Hey, look, cool dice. Definitely better than the dice that came in Deathwatch Overkill, which were just the tiny normal D6s. Let's bust these open. Okay. Well, we could do this. How about this? How about I actually be a cameraman for once? Engraved dice. Very cool. I like them. They're definitely different, so I don't think you can port these over to other games, but nevertheless, I find that very interesting. I can't wait to learn how those all are going to work. So there's that. We have a bunch of stands, which I don't think I need to take out of the bag right this second, but you get the idea. Let's do the cards. Here's the cards. Let me open these up with my teeth, which is the proper way to do it. We'll time-lapse this. Oh my god, that took me an embarrassing amount of time. Okay. Here's, I guess it's the different parts of the robot. The damage. Cool. Neato. All right. Let's see. What are these? We gotta speed this up a little bit. Here's different stat cards. Like everything in this game looks a lot more proper and regal, I guess, and like more war gamey than. I mean, look, it's just like even the poses. It's really interesting how they did that compared to the other game. I mean, I feel like these are going to be night and day as far as the mechanisms too. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm just getting that impression. Like this feels just thematically and from aesthetically more like a war game, whereas maybe more like the actual miniatures game, which I think is a big reason a lot of people bought this game, since the miniatures are compatible with the basic Warhammer 40k game. Basic, I don't mean it like that. But compare that to Deathwatch Overkill, which has a much more like, I don't know, it feels much more like Assassinorum Execution Force in a sense, or even Space Hulk, of course, being the obvious one, where it's just more of like a shoot 'em up type game. But it's really interesting. I can't wait to try it and see, or at least just run through the rulebook and see what's going on with that. So here's the boards. Oh wait, there's a bevy of other things underneath. I should have known that. I hadn't seen the book yet, so I don't know why. I didn't expect that. Horus Heresy transfer sheet. Little transfer stickers, I guess? Okay. Sure. I get it. Yeah. Interesting. I haven't seen that in any of these other ones. Baggies. That was very generous of them, spending $165 on the game. I mean, what did I spend on this? Okay. Here is the how-to book, which I do appreciate heavily. Now, if only Kingdom Death had come with one of these. I said it. I did say it. Sorry. It had to be said. I mean, really. It's embarrassing. He's supposed to put an online website up. That ain't up yet. Okay, interesting. This book is thicker than the one for... here, this deserves my undivided attention. I'm holding the boards in my other hand. This book is thicker than the one for Deathwatch Overkill, which is interesting to me because I didn't think this was necessarily scenario-based, but I suppose so. Wow. I mean, look, no one's game is really going to look like that, but it looks amazing. No one! Except for the people who actually made it. Yeah, they are. Different scenarios. Oh, cool. That's great. I mean, look, I love that in games because it just means you can play through a story. It's thematic, and you feel like you're doing something different each time. I appreciate that. There's the box art. I mean, as grim and dark, and sometimes I don't like the Warhammer or either of the Warhammer universes at all. I don't know what this is. This fell off of something. As much as I kind of dislike the grim universes of Games Workshop, I mean, aesthetically and the idea of it is really, really cool. So, I don't know. It feels like a relic of a bygone era for sure. But they are doing their best to update it, and I do appreciate that. Okay, I gotta rip the plastic off of this. Oh man, that took even longer than getting the cards out, which I was surprised by. Okay, now these, last time on Deathwatch Overkill, I got confused and thought they were punch-out boards, and they weren't. These actually are. Interesting. There's little tokens around the edges as well. Okay. Definitely it feels like a more sprawling game already. Not maybe by a tremendous amount, but it does. Those match up with the dice symbols, I think. Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. There are backsides to all these, I suppose. Well, I could do it like this. That worked out better, anyways. Yeah, look. I mean, the board spaces are different too. I mean, again, I have this feeling that these are just very, very different games. But that's cool. Skull. It had to be at least one skull. Numbskull. Okay, that's it, guys and girls. This is everything that comes in the Betrayal at Calth Horus Heresy game from Games Workshop. Can't wait. Well, I have no excitement to actually put it together, but I can't wait to play it. And so you take the good with the bad. But thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for my next unboxing, which is going to be amazing. But this one was okay too. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.